Welcome to the Money Watch Show. It's Thursday, September 7th. You got your groove back? You got your groove back? Mark Delaire, you got your groove back?
Stella got her groove back, yes.
You got your groove back. You're ready. You're in it. You got the schedule. It does take a while, doesn't it? I mean, it is very funny. I remember when I was a kid and I would work in the summertime. And it's like you get this, you have to like work required a transition. Because I used to work as a clerk at my father's trading firm and you had to be on your feet all day long. I remember I was exhausted like that first week, just that transition of getting used to it. Then it's fine. Then to transition back to like the schedule of school, that required some work. And now for many of us, we've been maybe goofing off a little bit for the summertime. Mark, raise your hand. Goofing off a little bit. Yeah. It's hard to get a little bit back into your groove, but hopefully we can help you. And if you need some help figuring out how to make your work better for you, maybe it is a way for you to consider a different career. Maybe you're looking at different ways to pursue a business idea that you have. We'd love to hear from you. Go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button. We'll get your note. And if you want to join us, just check that box. Mark does everything else. Today, we're talking with Kyle, who's on the line from the West Coast. And he sheepishly admitted at 11:40 Eastern Time and 8:40 Pacific Time that he is just up. But there's a reason, right, Kyle?
That's right. Yes, I have a 5-year-old son and 3-year-old twins, and I'm up in the middle of the night.
Oh, my God. There's a lot going on in that house, right?
Oh, yeah. We're very busy from every morning till every evening.
Oh, and are the twins fraternal or identical?
They're fraternal twins.
And what do we have? You have a 5-year-old boy, and then what about the twins? What are they?
All boys, 3-year-old boys.
What? You got 3 boys under the age of 5? There's a lot going on. A lot going on.
That's right.
Aren't they harder? I think that the rap is that the boys are harder when they're younger, but you hopefully by teenage years you're spared some of that. That could all be old wives' tale. And I don't know anything because I am only an auntie, not a parent. So what brings you to us, Kyle? What can we do for you?
Well, all 3 boys are in daycare right now, private daycare that my wife and I are sending them to. And my wife and I both work full time. So a lot of our extra money is going to pay for those daycare costs. In fact, we pay about $60,000 a year for daycare.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Wait a second. 60 for 3.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And how much do you guys earn together?
We earn about $250,000 a year together.
I mean, it's a lot of money, but when you think 60 grand after tax, not so much, right? I
exactly,
mean, when you think
yeah.
like that, you're like, oh, I make a lot of money. And then you're like, well, wait, I have to pay taxes and then I have to pay for daycare and there's probably not too much left over. So what brings you to the airwaves today in terms of like your specific financial issue?
Well, I've been listening to your show for a couple months now and realizing how little we're putting into our retirement because prior to having children, we had been close to maxing out our retirements and doing quite well there. But we had to reduce that contribution down to the minimum to get our matching. We have TSPI funds. And I'm not sure what to do with the extra money as our 5-year-old ages out of daycare. We're actually going to finally have a little bit of capital coming to us, and we're not sure whether to put it into a 529C or start to increase our contributions to our retirement accounts, or if there's just some other option we should be considering.
So tell me about the current retirement accounts. What do you guys both, and you said you're going just up to the match. What is in there right now?
There is 600,000 in mine and 250,000 in my wife's.
Wow. How old are you guys?
I'm 48 and my wife is 38.
Okay. I mean, you got a lot of money saved considering that you pulled back. And then will either of you be entitled to a pension?
Yes, we'll both receive a pension. And it's hard to say how much of that will work out to, but I guess you could estimate the 80 to 120,000 a year range combined.
That's great. Already, I want you to just keep breathing. It may feel like you're behind, but you're in good shape. Okay? Really. So when we get the 5-year-old out of daycare, how much more cash flow will you have?
Well, we'll also get a little bit of a raise at the same time. So we're going to get about $1,800 more each month coming to us.
That's great. You mentioned a 529 plan. Do you already have 3 of these open or not?
We do, and there's about 40,000 in there combined for all three kids.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to go back to the retirement plans. Were those Roth or are those traditional?
They're mostly traditional, and we just changed them to Roth recently.
Okay. And do you guys have any other money that is in other retirement or non-retirement in a brokerage account?
We have 100,000 in a total market fund with Vanguard and about 50,000 in savings.
Okay. How about house? Where do you guys own or rent?
We own, and we owe about 440 on it, and it's probably worth 750 to 800,000.
Is it a house that you guys can have, three grown teenage boys running around, or do we need to factor anything else in?
We think we can make it work.
Squeeze in. Okay. So any other investment or savings or anything else we should know about rental property or anything like that?
No, we really don't have anything else. That's about everything.
That's you. Don't be all downbeat. It's all good. So don't worry. What about life insurance?
We do not have life insurance.
You don't?
What is offered through our employer, which is fairly minimal.
Dude, we need some life insurance. Like for real. Like you definitely need life insurance. Because right now, if either of you were to die, you might have what happens to is there a beneficiary of the pension that gets a reduced amount, or is it not? Do you have to get to a certain point before that could happen?
I'm not even certain how that works with the pension. I have a retirement training coming up shortly, and I'll learn a little bit more about that. It's been some years since I've taken one, so I'm not sure how that.
Okay. You need to ask what is the beneficiary and how does the beneficiary work on a pension? If I were to die tomorrow, pension, retirement person, what happens to my pension? Does my wife get some reduced amount? And vice versa. But I'm pretty sure you need some life insurance. If you could, and the other question is, can you buy additional coverage through your workplace? In other words, you might have a minimum amount. They might say, we give you 1 times your salary. Like we give you 125 each. But could you buy more? That would be a very good question to ask. It sounds like you guys are you kind of in this for the long term, your current positions?
Yeah, we think we'll probably be in these positions until we retire.
Okay. So then it's worth asking about, can you buy additional life insurance? That's a biggie. Okay. Because we need insurance. And what about wills and durable powers of attorney and healthcare proxies? Do we have those?
That is not all set up either. And it's something we know we need to do, but we haven't taken care of. We did go down the route of consulting with several law firms about a year and a half ago and just kind of got overwhelmed with all the options and the cost of everything. And we never made a commitment and went with any of the law firms. But we were looking at a trust. You
don't need a trust. Everyone calm down with the trust conversations that we're having. Let me be clear. Pick somebody you like. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to say to them, we'll think about the trust. But in the meantime, we need wills drafted fast. We want them done because you have minor children. And if something happened to you guys together, we need to know where those kids are going. Do you have an agreement on that?
Yeah, we do have an agreement on that.
Okay. All right. That's usually the reason why people don't get it done. They're like, I hate your sister. And, she says, I hate your brother. And then we have a standoff, right? But I think the easiest way to do this is to, if you can agree that we liked one person versus another, you can say, here's what we'd like. We want wills that basically, give everything to my wife and she gives everything to me if she were to die. If we die together, this is where our kids go. And if we die together, we'll figure out what kind of trust or something. You can always do that later. The trust can be created after death. You don't have to have a standalone trust. It can be created through the will. And that's a very simple way to get this done. Most of your money is in retirement accounts, and those retirement accounts pass by contract of law, by beneficiary. Those are not in a trust. So now if you're telling me, well, what do you need a trust for? Right? For the 150 grand that we have outside? No, I say no. So we want to work with somebody who's going to give us the simplest solution to the problem. What if we both drop dead right now? And the answer is let's get some documents drafted, try to really get this boiled down to, we want to make this simple. We're happy to revisit this in 2 years, but we just need something right now. That's the most important thing that you've raised so far.
Okay, that's great. That's excellent to hear. We were definitely being steered down the trust route when we were consulting with the law firms, and some of the companies would only offer trust. They said they wouldn't even do a will. So we
Oh
were
my God.
under the impression that we had to do a trust, and they were quite expensive, and there were so many options, and we just sort of got overwhelmed and never saw it all the way through. So it's great to hear that we can just maybe take care of this at a lower cost and take care of something simply.
And honestly, if you went to do you have a friend who's a lawyer? You want to get somebody who's just look, yes, eventually we'll need to have someone maybe, you can have a trust document created after the fact. You can amend your wills. But right now, the first thing you need is I give you everything. You give me everything. Here's the money. Here's who's taking care of our kids. They get the money at age 25 and 30, 21, 25 and 30. That's how they get the money. And that's that. Put something down on paper, because right now the hurdle is way too high for you and it is too many choices. Lawyers, why do you do this? We would need them to get the work done. Because I think lawyers come at it from, well, don't you want to get it done the right way? And the answer is yes, eventually. But now I need you to just get something down.
Okay, that's excellent. Thank you.
Okay. Now, are you in good health?
Yeah, we're both in good health.
I mean, if you could just get 10, 12, 15-year term policies, 15-year term policies, it's going to be not going to be cheap for him. He's an old fart, as we like to say in the business. He's 48, so it's going to be expensive. So if you can buy $1 million, what I would do is I would go through work and I would say, what's the additional amount we could buy? Buy up to whatever they'll give you. If they'll sell you $1 million of coverage, get it. If they don't, then whatever they have, get it and try to fill in the gap with private insurance. Okay. Now, what else do we have to do? Well, listen, I think that you guys, for the $1,800 a month, I mean, it's also in 2 years, you're going to have a lot more money, right? There's going to be really good cash flow. So do you feel strongly about the amount that goes in if we tilted it 2/3 to retirement and 1/3 to 529 plans, would that seem okay for you? Or do you really want it more in 529 plans?
No, I was thinking to lean heavily towards the retirement plan. I just want to make sure that was the proper decision. It seemed like the more important fund to put the dollars into. Yeah.
I mean, so what we want to do is once you get your insurance and we know how much that's going to cost and you pay for your estate planning, what I would say is if we do have let's say you had $1,500 a month to really that we're talking about, $1,000 goes into retirement and $500 goes into the 529 plans. And do it like that. I mean, there's really no benefit of, which one we can put. You can just put more in the 5-year-olds plan to start. And then when the 3-year-olds are done with daycare, you can start putting more money into retirement and also more money into the 529 plans.
Yeah, but we'll have a lot more capital in a couple of years. It'll be much easier to do this.
Absolutely. And will you get some more information about those pensions so that we can build you a better sense of what your retirement might look like? That's the only other thing I would say is that once you have that information, the reason why I'm not freaking out and you may feel like you're freaking out is that pension benefit is worth a lot to you guys. I mean, do you think you're spending 10 or 12 grand a month right now? Is that about what you think you're spending?
Yeah, that's about right. About 10 grand a month.
Forgetting about daycare for a second. So if we think that that's the amount and the pension's going to cover, I don't know, at least a half to 3/4 of that, that's going to be amazing for you. And then you'll have plenty of money. It'll be fine. Will you be entitled to Social Security also?
That's right. Yes. Both of us will.
Mark, do you feel like there's a problem with this or do you think they're okay?
Oh, they're definitely okay. I mean, when he kind of set the stage at the beginning, I was thinking, okay, they probably have no money saved. They got $1 million saved.
Exactly. You got a lot of money saved.
They're young.
No, he's old. I already told him an old fart, so you can't say he's young.
Then that makes me an old fart.
My wife's young. I'm old.
I know she is. Thank God for her. And she's got earning power too. I think you're in great shape. I think you'll be fine. I would take that money, that extra cash flow. And look, if things change, you give us a holler back. But I think that you're in the right place. And just pinky swear with you and your wife and me and Mark, the 4 of us are together. We're just going to make sure you get that estate planning done. If you run into a hurdle, you say to me look at this thing that they're proposing to me. And, if you want to follow up with us, that's fine. Absolutely fine. But I really want you to try to get that done because you have little kids and weird things can happen. Okay.
Well, that's great to hear. I know my wife will be very happy to hear that. She wanted this done a year or two ago. So
all right,
this will be one of our top priorities. So thanks for the mild scolding. I needed to hear that.
All right. It's mild. It's mild. Aunt Jill does not give terribly difficult scoldings here. All right. Kyle from the West Coast, we wish you the best of luck. Keep us posted if you have any other questions. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
If you would like to come on the program and talk about something that's important to you, and maybe it's a little thing and you maybe think it's insignificant, but err on the side of getting in touch with us. Just go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button. We'll get your note. While you're there, sign up for the free weekly newsletter. It comes out on Fridays. So it's like you get 7 days a week with Jill on Money, the podcast, 2 days a week for the Money Watch podcast. Friday, you get the newsletter. I mean, it's like you can't get away from us. Maybe you like that. Maybe you don't. But if you do, we'd love to have you. Free weekly newsletter. Mark does a great job with that. Speaking of Mark, he is our co-host and executive producer. He also runs everything behind the scenes, with the website to social media to everything else. We are distributed by Paramount Global. We drop our episodes every Tuesday and Thursday. Try to put your hands metaphorically on someone's back. Just reach out to someone. See how they're doing. It'll make that person feel better. It's going to make you feel better. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.